and join me in the kitchen today as I make my 2-ingredient biscuit recipe, but I'm going to add a southern twist or a farmhouse twist to it today. I'm going to add aged cheddar cheese and apples. Today I'm shaking things up a bit in the kitchen by adding a sweet and a savory twist to our classic 2-ingredient biscuits. I'm using this simple biscuit recipe as my base. Then I'm going to add delicious apples and cheese for a surprise. This is a game changer, especially when you're wanting to add touches of fall to your dishes. Now, I have made these 2-ingredient biscuits before, and I'll include the link in the description below. But this version just really elevates the humble biscuit and gives you a taste that really connects you with the season that we're in, which is fall. Apples, fall. I love it. Now here's what I'm going to be using today for this recipe. We're going to use 2 cups of self-rising flour, and I don't know yet how much heavy whipping cream that I'll need. Just enough to bring the flour together is all I'm going to use. I'll measure it out and give you the amounts. We're going to use a finely chopped apple. We're going to use a heaping cup, just because I like cheese, a heaping cup of sharp cheddar. I'm going to put just a hint of salt in it. That always brings out the sweetness of the apple. I'm going to do about a 1/4 cup sugar. And I may or may not do this, but I brought out some powdered sugar and some apple juice. I want to make a little glaze and put on a few of them. And of course, you need something to bake your biscuits in. I'm going to use this black skillet today, and I'll just have to watch them close. I don't want them to get too brown. Okay, let's start out with our flour, and I've put a whisk in it just to loosen it up in the bag. I need 2 cups, and this doesn't have to be perfect. There's 1. 2. Now, so far we're on track for just a 2-ingredient biscuit. I'm going to get my heavy cream. If I can get it open. I think I'll start out, I'll pour a cup in here, and then that way if I don't need it all, I can pour it back in the container, but we'll see. It's just according to how thick or thin your cream is. All right. I'm going to start bringing this together. Now, when I get done with this dough, I want it to be sticky. I love this blending fork. It's not that I'm necessarily blending anything so much today, but it mixes well. What do y'all think about biscuits? Did y'all grow up eating them? How about now? Do you eat them every day, once a week, once a month? Do you eat them at all? We don't eat them very often. I can make them, and although they're good, but if I make them, we will eat them. So I try not to make them real often, but they are delicious. You know, when I was growing up, my granny and my grandma, I would dare say they were on the table almost every meal. But it was a different time. All right, this is coming together. I'm going to go ahead and finish that 1 cup. I'm probably going to need a little more because I want it sticky, not dry. I'm going to pour another 1/2 cup. Say I am. Where's my measurements? And we'll see how that does. Go ahead and do it. Just go ahead and do it, Rhonda. Now, you can go back and watch the video, and there's hundreds of videos on YouTube about 2-ingredient biscuits, and I do enjoy them. But you can go back and watch my video if you want to. If I was just making 2-ingredient biscuits today, as soon as I get all of this flour wet and kind of combined into a sticky ball, I would stop there. I would flour my surface and just pat it out and cut out my biscuits. But that's not where we're stopping today. Again, this is your 2 biscuit. That's a 1.5 cups of heavy cream. And it could take a little more. I got a little bit of flour left in the bottom. Let's go ahead and do a little more. Let's do 1/4 cup. This just might finish bringing it together. So we're at 1 plus 1/2 plus 1/4. So 1 3/4 cups cream at this point to 2 cups flour. Let's see where that takes us. Different days bring different scenarios. It's one of those things you do by feel and sight. Oh yeah. We're in a good ball now. A good wet ball, which is what I want. Okay. Now, this is where we would stop. I would flour my surface, pour it out, sprinkle some flour on it, pat it into a rectangle, and start cutting out my biscuits. If I was just doing 2-ingredient biscuits, and they would be delicious. We've eaten plenty of them. But I'm going to take this recipe a little further this time. Close up my cream. That's 1 3/4 cups of cream to 2 cups self-rising flour. All right, since I'm going to make this one sweet biscuit, move my coffee. Here's what I'm going to add. 1/4 cup sugar. Oop, get my sleeve out of there. I'm going to do a pinch of salt. Let me see if I can get this brought together. This will help me help sweeten the apple, help sweeten the bread to accommodate the apples. I'm probably going to mix me up a glaze in the end anyway, and at least put it on some of them. Oh, I love it being sticky like that. I just need to get that sugar worked in. And I ain't going to work it too much. All right, we got the sugar in. Now I need to add my apple, which I've got to dice it up, and then add my cheese. And we'll be ready to finish mixing it and pat it out. Okay, I've got my cup of apple, and it didn't quite take the whole apple. I'll show you what I'll do with that in just a minute. But here's my cup of apple. It's going in. Now, it's not super fine, but I wanted to make sure, super finely diced, I should say. But I wanted to make sure they were all about the same size. And here's my heaping cup of sharp cheddar. I'll get them out of the way. Now, this will be a little bit on your wrist, trying to get this all incorporated, but you can do it. Oh, that's going to be good. That's going to be good. We were talking earlier about biscuits and how, if y'all eat them at all, and if so, how often. Another question would be, what texture do you like? What kind of biscuit texture do you like? I like mine soft and fluffy and tender, but my mother-in-law, now she made the traditional biscuits that you use. You make them with shortening, you roll them out by hand, you have your fingerprints in the top of them where you pat them down. She liked hers a little bit thin, and she liked... Oops, sorry about that. My microphone just completely died. But as I was saying about my mother-in-law, she liked hers thin and she liked the bottoms to be crunchy. For the life of me, I can't remember what I was talking about here, but I did notice I picked up that piece of apple and I ate it. I did not let it go to waste. Now I'm going to flour my surface and get ready to pat these biscuits out. Don't worry, you'll hear me start talking again in just a minute. Now the biggest mistake I think I made when I was younger with making biscuits is overworking the dough. I think the best thing you can do is handle it as little as possible, just enough to get it to come together, and then you wind up with a softer biscuit. And don't overcook it. Don't overthink it. That's the thing. Don't overthink it. My mother-in-law tried to show me how to make hand-rolled out biscuits, and they just did not want to turn out for me. I didn't like the texture. The taste was okay, but I didn't like the texture. They were too hard. And if I get too much flour worked into this, it'll get too hard. Now, if I was doing shortening biscuits, I would fold these several times so that it would have layers, but not so much today, since this will be more of a sweet biscuit. I guess you could still do it, but since I'm not working shortening in, I'm not. Let me wash my hands. All right, that's kind of what I want when I'm done messing with it. I'll keep that over here. Here's a biscuit cutter. I want to make sure it's in the... Let me get my skillet ready. I am going to use a little bit of shortening to grease my pan. I think it'll hold up to the heat better. And you have to be careful when you're doing like I'm doing and using a black iron skillet to bake these in. You will get them too brown quickly. So even though it might say bake them 17 to 22 minutes, every oven is different, and it's according to the pan you put them in, as far as how quickly they'll brown, how brown they'll get on the bottom, and it's according to how thick you make your biscuit. So you have to watch it. I mean, there's just no way around it. You have to watch it. All right, let me see if I can keep my sleeves out of the way, and let's get these put in the pan. This might be pretty thick. Watch, we'll get the bottoms too brown. 2, 3. I can feel the apples in there. Woo, that's a thick one. Should we do it? That is a, oh, look at that. Look at that. Let's put him right there in the middle. Bring that over where you can see a little. I'm going to make them touching. Oh, look at that. Do y'all see a downside or a negative to like a 2-ingredient biscuit? I don't. I really don't. They are so simple. I should have got me a... Put a little flour under there where I can pick it up better. They are 2 ingredients. How much simpler can you get than that? I'm going to have to get my scraper. It's sticking to the bar. I didn't put enough flour there. I'm going to do this without getting flour all over my counter cabinet. There we go. But like I was saying, they are 2 ingredients. It doesn't get any simpler than that. Not only that, today I've used self-rising flour and heavy whipping cream. You can actually use yogurt instead of whipping cream. They say the acidity, the acid in the yogurt will actually make the biscuits have a little more rise to them, I guess, than compared to the whipping cream, heavy cream. And you can do this because heavy cream has so much fat in it. That's why you don't need shortening. The heavy cream has your fat. But they are so simple. 2 ingredients. They're fast. You can make them quick if you're in a hurry. They're great for beginners. If you don't have much experience or confidence in making the old Southern rolled out biscuits, oh, these are great. And they will wow your family. I better stop, hadn't I? He's not wanting to stay together, but we can get him. I didn't want to re-roll him or rework him. The more I work it, the tougher it'll get. Now that is a pan full of biscuits, and I got a few little scraps I might do something with. I'm gonna leave it right there for now. Now another good thing, I think, about these 2 ingredient biscuits, they don't have as much fat as a biscuit made with shortening, which makes them better for doing what we're doing today, like adding other flavors to them. They don't have that strong butter flavor, so it's easier to add apples and cheese and for the apple and cheese flavor to come through. But anyway, I need to clean up my mess. I'm going to put these in a 375 oven here in just a minute. Do you know of any cons? You know, we just mentioned a lot of pros about the 2 ingredient biscuit. Do you know of any cons? I don't really think I have any. The biscuit that I make on any given day, for me, is determined by what did my grandma make. Do I want a rolled out biscuit made with shortening, with the fingerprints in the top? I mean, they have their place. Am I in a hurry? Do I want just a quick and soft? Look how soft this biscuit dough is. I mean, that required no, can you see it? It's soft. And it required no rolling. And the more flour that I work into it, the tougher it'll get. So remember that when you're making any kind of biscuit. The more flour you work in, I like to start with it sticky and then work enough flour in that I can get it manageable and get it in my pan. These will be a little bit broken on top. They'll look a little, what's the word? Rustic, but they will be delicious. All right, I'm gonna wash my hands and then we're gonna get those in an oven. All right, I'll meet you back here when these are done and I've cleaned up this mess. And I'm putting mine in a 375 degree oven. Like I say, each time I make them, I have to watch it and see when they're ready because I'll have them different thicknesses and different ingredients, you know, different mixtures. So you just have to watch them. I set my timer on 10. They won't be ready in 10, but I want to put my eyes on them in 10. Now that I've got my kitchen cleaned up and I'm waiting on those biscuits to come out of the oven, I'm going to make me just a small amount of glaze. Whoops. To put on some of the biscuits, probably not all of them. What's that? There's an 1/8 cup. All right, there's a 1/4 cup. And what I'm going to use instead of cream is apple juice. I'd like to have cider, but this will just give me some more apple flavor. I got too much. If I did, I'll put some more sugar in there. Just want a little glaze to put on some of them. Might do it. It might thicken up just a little. I just looked out the window and it is raining. Just a misting, just right off the eaves of the house. But here we are. What is today's date? Tuesday was election, 5th, 7th. Today's the 7th of November, and it is steaming hot outside. Steaming hot. If that don't make you picky some inside chores to do, I don't know what will. I got up this morning, got showered, got ready for the day. Got outside with my husband on the buggy, and we was going to ride around and look at some things that we needed to do. And I was soaking wet. My hair had fallen where I had dried it that morning. It had done fell flat from the humidity. That's the joys of living in the South. All right, let me hang on to that for just a minute. Let me check my oven. You know, while we're waiting on that bread to come out of the oven, we're approaching Thanksgiving. Are y'all ready? I've been trying to get my table ready. Y'all want to see it? It's got some that's a new tablecloth I laid up there. But anyway, I just opted, look at this, to go with a paper plate this year. Isn't that funny? But anyway, this is what my table looks like. And I chose to go with that muted blue and gold and black just because I didn't want to take that picture down right there. Isn't that just cute? Oh, the puppies. And my curtains have that gray blue in them. But this is what the table's looking like. So I'll be ready for family when they come. I also put my galvanized pumpkins over here in the foyer. I'm sure you've seen my foyer. I worked on Charlotte's gallery wall. That's been there. I revamped this shelf over here with some of Mama's old cookbooks and items out of her kitchen. Overlooked the printer. Got to have a printer downstairs. But there's my galvanized pumpkins, and I love them. And see if I can do it. Where's my finger? Right there. See my tobacco leaf framed over there? But anyway, could always sit down and play some music, couldn't we? Let's go check these biscuits. Woohoo! Look at these, y'all. Wow, that is so soft. I'm trying to let them cool just a little, and then I just want to cut me a little piece out to taste. These look great. That cheese, I smell. Oh my goodness. That is perfection. I can taste that 1/4 cup sugar. It changed the flavor of the batter just enough to not make it a plain biscuit. That cheese, and I did a heaping cup, and I would be sure to do the sharp cheddar so that it really flavors up that dough. But the cheese is off. Oh, golly, that's good. And the sweetness of the apple, my goodness, that's a match made in heaven. Tangy cheese, sweet apples, and a tender texture. That's absolute perfection. All right, just so that you know, now you noticed earlier in the video how thick I made these. They were, what, 1.5 inches thick? They were thick. I baked these on 375, and I have a convection oven. You may can hear it running. But I baked them for 30 minutes. I'm going to let these cool, which will take a few minutes, and then I'm going to try where I cut out part of this biscuit. I'm going to cut out a little bit more of it and try it with some glaze on it. How can you go wrong? How can you go wrong? They've already got a touch of a sweet taste without the glaze, but I want some glaze on it just because I made it with that apple juice. Hey, look at my plate. Isn't that cute? I made these a few years ago. It's Dollar Tree. I went and got clear plates, cut out a decal in this particular font, and you can find, I saw a video on it. Who did this? I think Natalie with Design to the Nines done this, and I made a whole set to go on my table that year for Thanksgiving, like little salad plates. Loved them. I still bring them out to this day. It says grateful, some of them, thankful, some of them. I love it. If you're interested in making them, look her up. It's Design to the Nines. I'll put a link in there. If I can find this video, I'll put a link. But I love them. I pull them out in some form every year. Can y'all see that texture? That is some goodness right there. Now, I did cut the rest of the one I took a bite off of right there. I cut it out, and I'm letting it sit here on the plate so it'll cool a little quicker. But I just want some glaze on it and taste it again. I don't know why I've got a piece this big. All right, that's powdered sugar and apple juice. Get a fork. Okay, y'all. That was delicious right by itself. Now I've put that glaze on it, and it's cooled just a little bit. Oh, it is so soft. And the apples have just cooked right into the flour. It's like I can't even pick them up. I taste them, but I can't see them. I don't even hardly see the red peeling. There's some. Can y'all see how gooey? It's almost like a butter cake gooey. Wow. What's that thing where the angels sing? That's what that's like. That is so gooey and buttery and dessertish. It has all the things. It has the biscuit. It has the sweet. It has the apple. It has the cheese. Wow. Watch this. Wow, that is really good. I hope you can see just how gooey and cheesy that texture is. I did a heaping cup of cheddar cheese. You may not want that much. Wow. I do want to thank y'all for joining me in the kitchen today. And I'd love to hear your favorite biscuit recipe or your favorite biscuit recipe memories. Maybe there's something in your family that stands out to you. Put it in the comments below and share your twist on this classic Southern dish. And if you're looking for more delicious cooking ideas, be sure to check out my other videos for some serious Southern inspiration. All right, you see it. Now, if you have any tips, tricks, shortcuts, regional differences, or variations, please share them in the comments where we can all read them and all enjoy them and all try them and just share each other's love for cooking. And you know me, I believe in the power of food to bring people together. And this channel is dedicated to creating a welcoming community that's centered around the love of home-cooked meals. Together we'll learn, we'll laugh, and we'll build lasting connections through our recipes. If you're new here, consider subscribing for more videos, and we'll be stirring up friendships one recipe at a time. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.